Hello and welcome to our next partner innovation conversation. Today, my guest is Greg Jones, the North American lead for retail and consumer at Avanade. And of course, our topic today is retail. So good to have you, Greg, with us today.
Tony, great to be here, and many thanks for the opportunity to be able to discuss the current pressures facing the industry and how through our strategic partnership, Avanade and Microsoft are working together to really bring innovation and capabilities to help our clients.
You're welcome, Greg, and it's a pleasure. It's great having you. Okay, let's start, our conversation with something that is on everybody's mind. Greg, you're an expert in the industry, and especially with the online shopping, with what's going on today. Do you think that the physical stores are going to go away?
Tony, it's a great question. And to be honest, I'd like to be able to say that the topic of physical stores has been around for quite a number of years. I mean, it's really been the top of mind discussion, but more so over the past 24 months. So let's take a step back in time where the customer journey would have been drawn up as a linear journey with a natural start and end. So there was always a point of entry and a point of exit as part of the customer journey. Now, fast forward to the past 24 months, where industry itself has had to pivot dramatically. They've had to evolve and reassess at an exponential pace, and a pace of unprecedented globally, that's created a need for cases to, in some cases, to adapt new business models to remain connected with the customer across the entire shopping journey. So the linear model is no longer there, and yet has become more of a continuum journey within itself. And the way that I like to be able to look at this in sort of the best way is to be able to describe it as a figure of eight, where there's no natural end, there's no natural start, but one where services are needed to enhance the journey throughout, like delivery services now popping up everywhere. Saying this amongst the digital evolution and the change, there's one element of the retail experience that has remained and will do, and that's the physical store. Customers are still seeking that physical experience. Yet as they change, there's always the business model that has to change for those physical stores. Apparel and beauty, as an example, are categories that people want to touch and feel. They want to try on. They want to be able to have that experience. And as a matter of fact, and it's actually really surprising, in a recent study that just came through, the number of physical retail stores that have opened has actually grown since the last time that you and I were at NRF in January 2020. It's almost 5,000 stores over the course of the last year. So yes, I think it's fair to say that the physical store is still alive and rocking, and it's fantastic.
That's really interesting. I would have never guessed an increase in the number of store openings, especially post-COVID and in today's environment. Very interesting. So, Greg, how do retailers typically approach technology, and what does your solution address? In the change that they want to make in their business?
Yeah, I think it's when we start to look at across the business as a whole, there's a need to be able to areas of reset that has to happen. From digital fulfillment through to data. Organizational agility is now essential, and the time being to wait 2 to 3 years to stand up new stores is gone away. Clients need new capabilities in the next 2 to 3 months, not years. So accelerating time to value is of the essence. So for some, it may be better to stand up an okay and a great experience, not just to make sure that the footprint's there, but something that they require for the duration. So if we start to look at areas around like buy online, pick up at store, the demand that has happened is exponential of certainly the requirements that's needed. They've got to be agile. They need to be able to see what the evolution is occurring at the moment, and the opportunity for choice is dramatically there as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, the other question that I have, it makes a lot of sense. With a lot of changes, that are happening today in the shopping experience, people don't know if the store is open or not. They don't know if they have the product or not, especially with the supply chain diversification that's going on. So, how does the connected, product solutions improve the overall shopper experience?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we've all, I was going to say, we've all had experiences and frustrations throughout our normal shopper journey in itself. The way that we like to be able to look at this is very much around it's about experiences. We also look at the customer as being the only channel. So retailers must really think how they engage with the customers with their brand. It's almost as though they have to reignite the entire approach and rethink not only how the e-commerce transactions, but the full suite of digital commerce capability, including things like picking up at store offerings, order tracking, and sales support. So retailers really need to be able to consider the developments of innovative digital services, as well as whether to enter or compete with digital marketplaces. I think at Avanade, we talk about the customer as being the channel, and it leaves the retailers with the need to recognise where their customers are so they can engage accordingly. For as example, if we just start to look at the rise of curbside delivery that's already shown and is a service model that's going to be there for quite some time, the customer will channel shift if their movement of truth so necessitates as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. So really knowing where they are and where they want to shop is absolutely key. So to really make that happen, Greg, how do you help the retailers anticipate the future needs? Not so much what they have today, but the new breed of customers and what do they want, to increase their sales.
Yeah, I think if we start to look at to be honest, if I look at the modularity of intelligent store, which is the solution that we've been talking about, enables retailers to be able to gain increased understanding of in-source service utilization and the actual needs through digital experiences tuned for local needs. We do that through the power of the Azure cloud. And this allows us to create more digital resilience infrastructure to help power and better understand the capabilities are needed for the customers as well.
Yeah, so it's all about taking immediate action for certain things to, ensure the sales, and at the same time, what are the trends that are coming over time. So it's always a balance between the two. So what technologies, Greg, are you using to enable both?
Yeah, look, to be honest, Tony, when we start to look at the environment, as we say, and certainly if we start to look at the intelligent store, data is at the heart of retail, and we should be treated as a strategic asset. I look at all of the number of touch points that's occurring across the value chain of retail, and each one of those, very much, I was going to say, creates a data element that needs to be leveraged. The way I like to be able to look at things, it's around the pulse of the industry. We could talk about data as the pulse. It's enabled and has to be connected everywhere. It's interesting when we start to look at retailing and the amount of data that's being generated, and we talk about things around like 40 terabytes of data per hour is being generated. I mean, this is just huge. Just think about it. The data isn't just any data. It's the data that's shaping our entire economy. It's the demand signal of the world. We see the pulse of what's happening across the globe. Yet only 21% and this was a recent study that occurred, only 21% of the retail executives say that big data analytics is used extensively across their organization. So one way that we look at it is to be able to gain insights through the intelligent store is with the help of, to be honest, it's the help and the partnership that we've got with Microsoft, with phenomenal platforms like the Azure Cloud, Azure IoT Edge, and Azure Digital Twins.
Yeah, that's super interesting. What you're saying, Greg, it needs to be data driven. There is so much data that's being generated, yet only 20% of it is being leveraged. So we have a lot to go. So just switching topics a little bit, Greg. Technology is one thing, and it's amazing, what you're doing, to enable these capabilities. But then there is change management. So how does the work, the roles and responsibilities of the retail employees change with this kind of technology?
Yeah, I love that question, Tony, and I just want to take the time out to be able to just say to all frontline workers in retail, phenomenal job. I mean, they truly have been on the front line. We talk about the employees as being very much the true superheroes of the retail industry. Yet their roles have also had to adapt and change. Again, think about buying online, picking up at store, new services that have had to be popped up exponentially quickly to be able to address the needs of what's happening out in the world. And it's a key requirement that as doing that, it's also maintaining the efficiency of their store environments, be that brick and mortar or taking the store to the curbside. The retail roles will be defined, or what we're saying is being redefined around digital technology. There's greater automation, there's greater needs to be able to look at automation and how that occurs to be able to drive better customer experiences, and looking at data-driven decision making. The one thing that I will say is that we're in an employee market where in-demand talent have their choice of where they want to be able to work. And if we start to look at the challenges that's occurring within the industry, it's about retention and also attraction of those employees as well. So there's a balance. So with so many open roles, the cost of labour is on the rise as well, and the retailers really do need to be able to balance about that, attracting new talent, but then also the retraining that's required as well, and how to be able to upskill their existing people. So we talk about automation and almost kind of robotic world that's occurring. It's not about taking away jobs. Absolutely not. It's more about an opportunity to be able to retrain those associates to be able to do more. So we take this market dynamic, and we've been very focused on what we're calling empowering the employees, and it's all about allowing them to spend more time with the customers, driving more customer value, driving that, and enabling that differentiation, and truly being those brand ambassadors by allowing them to be able to spend more time with the people that they care about, and they obviously want to be able to delight, being the customers. So that's really sort of a big focus that we're doing on the employee side. They're very much the focus of what we're needing to be able to do. And if we start to look at the technology that we're talking about here, we start to look at things around near real-time action-based notifications, and the opportunity to be able to drive, again, take the menial jobs away and actually drive more exciting opportunities for them to be able to engage with their customers.
That's so awesome to see, like, how technology is making everybody's lives better and easier, for retailers, for their employees, for the shoppers, and everyone involved. And that is just so great to see. It's almost like the Industrial Revolution. A lot of people thought jobs would go away, but it didn't. It actually helped create more jobs and make people more efficient, as you were saying, so they can spend more time with the customers and improve the experience. That is just so great to see.
Yeah.
Greg, can you tell me where this solution is being deployed today?
I'd love to, Tony. And in fact, what I'd like to be able to do is actually start off by playing a short video of Sweden's largest grocery retailer, ICA.
Today, we are visiting ICA Roslagstull, one of Stockholm's finest food stores and a visionary when it comes to the modern grocery store experience. And even though I'm sure that Peter Dinhage and his team have some quality items to offer, I'm really curious to see what Avanade, Ombori and Microsoft have done in the store. So come along and let's have a look. Come here. It looks like one of the shelves are about to go empty. Let's see what happens. Indeed, the shelf is empty. I wonder what happens next. Let's have a look. Wow. What happened here was that these cameras in the ceiling, they noted the need for an employee to attend to the empty shelf. So this sent a signal to the web app, meaning that no download was required, and allowing the employee to immediately determine the corrective action that was needed and how to address it accordingly. Another really cool thing about the solution that Avanade has built is the integration with third-party services, such as this one from Ombori Grid platform. In here, I can actually view the different products in the shelves and get more information about them. I can also filter on particular types and get more information about the products. And I can also see if there are any similar products and view more information about that. And if I need help from the staff personnel, I can just click on Get Help here. So, before we leave, there's another really cool thing I want to show you. A floor attention solution. It actually detects when something is out of place and alerts the employees via the same app that we saw before. It helps keep the store nice and clean. So there we have it, folks. Avanade's rendition of the intelligent store built on the Microsoft ecosystem in partnership with Ombori and ICA Roslagstull. Enjoy!
Awesome. That's a really cool video and a real example of how the value is being created across the board. Very nice.
So the other thing I'd like to be able to say, Tony, is we're also working with global fashion retailers as well. So obviously ICA is grocery. Fashion retail is also another client that we're working with as well. But the interesting thing with the fashion retailer, it's around the sustainability use case, which actually was taken a use case from the intelligent store platform from the shop to the warehouse, which is actually a use case that we hadn't actually focused on. It wasn't part of the original idea of the intelligent store, but it was one where sitting down with the customer, they were able to sit there and look at the types of use cases that we're doing, how that could be applied in different areas of their business. And from a sustainability standpoint, it's an area that we're really focusing on and working with them. And it's an extension of what the intelligent store platform is all about, which is kind of what we say is that it's almost like the operating system of the retail outlet. So I'd say, again, with the beauty of the modularity approach that we're taking with the intelligent store, it provides us, opportunities for retailers to be able to pick and choose what they want to be able to do. But at the end of the day, I'd say that, the interest at the moment is grocery and fashion. But we're really looking forward to the next step as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Greg. I've been involved in literally thousands of digital transformation projects, and everything really starts like in one place and it evolves. You start solving a problem and these things build on each other. And it's great to see how it's going into sustainability and so many different areas. So speaking of that, Greg, we talked a lot about the retail experience. The other cornerstone of retail, of course, is supply chain. And today, as I mentioned earlier, there's this whole supply chain diversification, and what's going on in the world is very concerning. So does your solution provide any help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And as this slide shows, the supply chain is very much the new battleground in being able to keep customers. It's an exciting time at the moment. As we're heading into the holidays, it's retailers' peak time. Some people say it's the retail, literally their Super Bowl. It's their big event that's occurring at the moment around the holiday peak time. Supply chain pressures are front page news across the supply chain value and the value chain of supply chain. Retailers are looking to activate local fulfillment as well, and use assets, either theirs or through partnerships with others, to make it profitable. Getting products into to customers has been increasingly costly and complex. Customers and consumers are expecting everything from speed and convenience, transparency, and then also looking at environmental and social responsibilities. Local fulfillment within itself can help retailers meet those customer needs and also their expectations in a more profitable and transparent way. These local dynamics are grounded at the regional, community, neighborhood-based level, strengthening brand and also the consumer relationships. And when we start to look at the part of the fulfillment reset that's occurring, It's really looking through the intelligent store. Being able to look at the predictive analytics instead of looking backwards. Looking at that, I would say generic analysis of the past. They're now looking forward, so leveraging data and AI to be able to predict and how best serve what's happening is more profitable. From an operations area, data-driven leverage analytics and demand forecasting, order affinity and inventory placement to help the distribution centers as well and warehousing. And then we start to look at resetting of the network design. So they need to reconfigure the integrated supply chain and store networks. So think of those regional distribution centers, micro-fulfillment centers, and dark stores and so on. So to satisfy, if I look at demand, more profitable, rethinking the role of the store and the store operations, we embedding automation, extending and transforming the store, looking at the warehouse, and also looking at pickup. Micro fulfillment and areas like looking at robotics is also a big area that we've got as part of the intelligent store. I would say the platform and the operating system. We start to look at the organizations like a fantastic Microsoft partner like Adabotics on how I'm being able to do that as well.
Yeah, by the way, I love those guys as well. Equally, innovative like you are. That's amazing. Greg, we are very fortunate to be your partner, and I've been involved in the construction of this intelligent store that Avanade started working on. I think it was about a year ago, and it's amazing how quickly you've been able to build such an amazing solution and be in the market with it, with real customers. So, Greg, what's next? This thing continues to evolve. So,
Yep.
what are some future ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I go back onto the topic of sustainability, it's just one example that it has evolved. It wasn't a use case that we thought of as Intelligent Store was coming together, collectively. But I'd say that central to all of this is the ability to understand, outcomes and quickly turn on and turn off the modular capabilities as the needs change over time. And that for me is, I would say, that a critical component to intelligent store is that modularity, giving people the choice of what they want to be able to use, when they want to be able to use it, and evolve over time as well. Retailers need to be able to meet the customers at the moment of truth, supported by staff that's always at their best. And I would say at Avanade, we strive to enable our clients to continually and efficiently and effectively grow, renew, scale, how they think about the use of their stores end to end in every channel. The pace is fast, the demands are ever evolving, and we're so pleased to be on this journey with Microsoft and really looking forward to collectively how we can take this forward and help our customers jointly.
Likewise, Greg, we truly feel the same way, and totally agree with you. It's a very fast-paced space. The journey is evolving, all the time, and we're truly excited and honored to be part of this with you guys. So, Greg, I really want to thank you for the insightful conversation that we had today. It's an awesome technology, and we're going to be watching it closely with you to help evolve the technology as we're building more sophisticated solutions in Azure IoT, and also helping you take it out to the market and make sure that everyone takes advantage of it. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Tony.